Alright, hello and welcome back to another Mr. Pisto Plays Magic the Gathering Arena Brawl deck tech and video session. Here we are doing another budget brawl, this time focusing around the almighty Koma Cosmos Serpent, the 7 mana 6/6 legendary serpent that cannot be countered. And at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 3/3 blue serpent creature token named Koma's Coil. Sacrifice another serpent, choose one. You can tap target permanent. Its activated abilities can't be activated this turn. You can shut down players' planeswalkers. You can put a stop in their upkeep to tap down some lands if you want to keep them off mana. It can do lots of interesting things with that first ability, and it can also protect itself except for exile and make itself indestructible until the end of turn. All right. We are going to get into the meat and potatoes of this deck. And with all our budget decks, we get 6 crafted mythic and rare wild cards to use, and we can also use any of the starter deck cards that you get from completing the tutorials and the color challenges of MTG Arena. We're going to start with our crafted rares and mythics, and I try to focus on the rares and mythics that see some play in Simic and also in aggro, mono green, any mono green deck right now in standard. Gilded Goose, Questing Beast, and Lotus Cobra do see play in a lot of different decks. Lotus Cobra less so than the other two, but it does see some play, and it is a good in a general brawl card. Shark Typhoon is seeing lots of play in control decks, not necessarily Simic, but if you were going to play blue standard deck, more often than not you probably are playing Shark Typhoon, whether you're cycling it or casting it for 6. It is something that is played. The Great Henge is played in almost all the Gruul decks these days, along with the mono green Stompy decks, so it sees lots of play. And I think Alrund's Epiphany is going to be something that sees play in the future with cards once maybe things rotate or a control deck comes into the foyer. Alrund's Epiphany could be in that place. There are some starter rares. Each color has 4: Soul Blade Djinn, Riddlemaster Sphinx, Overflowing Insight, and Wind Reader Sphinx. Unfortunately, 3 of the 4 I don't really think fit what we're trying to do. Overflowing Insight was one that I was trying, and it just a lot of mana. Even though we are ramping big time in the deck, take a whole turn off to draw 7 cards, it doesn't really put us in the best spot. I'd rather have some smaller draw stuff and whatnot. But Soul Blade Djinn fits in the deck, and we'll talk about it where it fits later in the video. And from the green, we have World Shaper Gigantosaurus, Epic Proportions, Rampaging Brontodon. And of these, Epic Proportions and Rampaging Brontodon made it into our build. All right, let's get into the cards, and we'll talk about these ones when they come up. Our first category is Rampy Ramp. Koma does cost 7 mana. So the deck is, because it's budget, it's highly focused on just getting to Koma as fast as we possibly can without any or too many other big flashy things. The deck is very much centered around Koma. So we have Gilded Goose, the best 1-drop in the format. Also a card that sees lots of standard play. That is why we crafted it. And it taps to add a mana of any color by sacrificing a food token, but you can also create a food token so you can help keep yourself alive against aggro decks to get to Koma. Lygian Caryatid taps for any color. Here again, we're fixing for any color, and it is just a good general card that comes from the starter deck, which is quite nice. And then Lotus Cobra, that other rare that we crafted to help us get to Koma 1 turn sooner, or also being able to play our other ramp spells 1 turn sooner, which is quite nice. As landfall, when a land enters the battlefield, you add 1 mana of any color. More of the rampy ramps. We have Sculptor of Winter, Glittering Frost, and Wolf Willow Haven. These 3 are on the same page because they interact very well with one another. Winter of Sculptor can untap a snowland. Therefore, you can untap the Glittering Frost, and you can untap Wolf Willow Haven if they are on one of your snow lands. So that is why they're there. Wolfwillow Hollow taps to add another green. Glittering Frost changes a land into a snowland, and it also adds 1 mana of any color that you need. So if you need 2 green or 2 blue, Glittering Frost will do that for you. More Rampy Ramp. The Tangled Florahedron can be a land or a mana dork. Beanstalk Giant gets you a land into play untapped, but also can be a giant beater late game because we are putting lots of lands into play. Arcane Signet taps to add a blue or a green. Quite nice. Maintaining our Rampy Ramp status. It is quite the list. Cultivate, Vastwood Surge, and Migration Path. These are all land or cards that put lands into play. Cultivate puts 1 into play. Vastwood Surge and Migration Path put 2 lands into play. Cultivate puts another land into your hand. Vastwood Surge you can kick for an extra 4 mana, so it's good early and it's good late. We'll put 2 1/1 counters on each creature you control, and Migration Path, if you are early and you are missing your land drops, you can cycle it, or if it's late and it's your top deck, you can exchange it for another card. Alright, last of the Rampy Ramps, we have the Heraldic Banner, the Great Henge, and Replicating Ring. Heraldic Banner and the Great Henge fit in other categories as well, but I put them in the ramp because that is the main goal of this deck, is to get to Koma as fast as we can. Heraldic Banner we want to put on blue, so we give all our Koma's coils +1/+0, so they are all 4/3s. The Great Henge is card draw, it's counters, it's life gain, it's so many things for 9 mana, but when you have Koma out, it only costs 3, which is quite nice. And then Replicating Ring, if you can get through a bunch of turns, which the deck tends to do, being able to get a bunch of more colorless artifact snow token replicated rings that add a mana of any color, very helpful in the ramping department. All right, next up we have Let's Draw. We are playing blue. We have some good blue draw spells, and there are also good green draw spells. So for blue, we have Opt, we hold the multiverse, and Anticipate. These all draw us 1 or 2 cards and help us dig deeper and looking at things. Opt scries 1, Behold scries 2, and Anticipate technically kind of scries 3, and you get to pick one of them. So card selection at its finest. Then are a couple other Let's Draw cards that are not instants or sorceries. Omen of the Seas kind of plays as an instant, is a flash, and you scry 2 and it enters the battlefield and draw 2, and then you can sacrifice it if you no longer need it to scry 2 more. Garruk's Uprising is nice. It gives all of our creatures trample, which is nice to give Koma trample so it can get in there, and all his little tokens if you need to. And if we have any of our things that make our creatures bigger, then when Koma's coils come into play as 3/3s or as 4/3s or 4/4s, we get to draw cards with Garruk's Uprising. And then Keeper of Fables, we are going wide with Koma and his coils, so being able to draw cards with Keeper of Fables is quite nice. All right, after we draw cards and we have lots of tokens, we need to get things out of the way. We have a few spells that help us get creatures out of the way with Blizzard Brawl, Ram Through, and Rabid Bite. They are all in some way fight spells or damage dealing spells that do not hurt our creatures. Blizzard Brawl will pretty much always have the indestructible aspect of it because we will more often than not have 3 snow lands in play. Ram Through, we have a big Koma, so at instant speed we can have Koma just bounce off of a creature and kill it, or add extra damage in combat to help get through. And if we have any of our trample enablers, this helps us get through and deal a little more damage. And then Rabid Bite is technically the sorcery, or is the sorcery version of Ram Through without dealing extra damage if you have trample. Other ways we get things out of the way is with Wilt and Broken Wings. Wilt gets artifact and enchantments out of the way, and if you need to in a pinch, you can cycle it to draw a card to help you hit your land drops. Broken Wings gets an artifact and enchantment, or also could get a nasty flyer that Simic has a hard time dealing with out of the way, so we no longer are taking damage in the air. We've gotten things out of the way, we got all these tokens. How do we Protect the Beast. We have 3 ways in this deck to protect our big beefy Serpent. We have Giant's Amulet, which gives it protection, 1 mana, 2 to equip it. Or later in the game, if it's a top deck, we can make a 4/5 giant and it becomes equipped, and it has hexproof as long as it's untapped. A lot of the times, hopefully we're winning through our Serpents, so we can keep Koma untapped. Neutralize, counters target spell for blue colorless, and if you need to, you can cycle it. And saw it coming, we can make cheaper with the Foretell by playing a blue or 2 colorless and then a blue and a colorless later on in the game. We've protected, we're making all these tokens, we want to make things bigger. So we had a couple of spells that do make things bigger with the Heraldic Banner and to a lesser extent the Great Henge, but these affect everything. Epic Proportions, the ability to be able to give +5/+5 and trample at flash speed is quite nice with Koma. It can help it get through to deal big damage. We do have a lot of instants, sorceries, non-creature spells for ramp, so if we can get the Soul Blade Djinn down, any of our ramp spells off the top of our deck after we've cast Koma make all our things bigger by +1/+1. And it's also a 5 mana 4/3 flyer, so it gets in there itself. And then Rhada, Call of the Hunt, is a star 3 where star is your devotion to green, and each creature enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. And then we have some big blue spells. We have Shark Typhoon and Alrund's Epiphany. These were 2 that we saw at the beginning. Shark Typhoon is somewhat of an alternate win condition. Hopefully we can get to a point in the game where we can hardcast this and start making a bunch of XX blue sharks, where X is the converted mana cost of the spells that we are casting. And if we need to, we can cycle it to make an XX shark and draw a card. And Alrund's Epiphany gives us those 2 flyers, an extra turn. We can pay 7 or 6 depending on if we have foretold it or not. And our last category, we have some stompy things. Waker of Waves, Rampaging Brontodon, and Questing Beast. 2 of these we saw earlier. Waker of Waves, green and blue in this format right now. Have a hard time dealing with stuff that goes wide. Waker of Waves can shut down those little token strategies, or at least make them hurt less. And you can also discard it. Somewhat it is like cycling. You discard it, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other in your graveyard. So this is a cool card if you're trying to fill your graveyard. Not so much for our deck. Rampaging Brontodon is just a big beefer that is nice to ramp up to. And Questing Beast kind of is our dealing with planeswalkers if we don't have Koma out. A 4/4 with Vigilance, Death Touch, and Haste, and it can't be blocked with creatures with power 2 or less, and damage can't be prevented. And if it deals damage to a player or to an opponent, you can also deal damage to one of their planeswalkers as well. So it does a lot of things for us. That's the deck. We have Koma, Cosmos Serpent, Budget Brawl, Game Time. All right, let's do this. All right, Gorilla Glue. I hope you keep things together for your sake. We got lands. We don't have any ramp. We have some ways to draw into ramp. We got our lands. Keep it. We will start off with this guy. Rimewood Falls, probably into Lajara Mirror Lake. Not sure. We'll see what we draw. I guess, yeah, let's do this. Next turn we can counter something if we need to. Playing against Rhada, probably some kind of aggro. That's a good one. That's a good one too. We will do this. We want to get up to 7 as fast as possible. This was not the best draw to do that, but we're on our way. Mono Red has a tough, or these colors, sorry, Gruel has a tough time dealing with Koma. Questing Beast, we have a tough time dealing with that right now. All right, let's see what we can draw. I know we can do that at instant. Land. We'll put that on the bottom because we'll draw cultivate. Cultivate. Definitely want green. All right, here we go. Koma's next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're counting our lands. Unless they blow up the Caryatid with some damage. Nope. Looking for lands off the top of their deck. It doesn't seem like they got there. All right, that's a nice one. We'll do this. All right. I'm afraid it sucks that they're short on lands. But that's the world they live in. This beast is going to be annoying. Next turn we'll ram through it. Let's tap beast. This could lead to our demise with an instant speed damage kind of spell or a fight kind of spell. But we are only at 13 life. They have probably the 5 damage spell, would be my guess. So we're not gonna lock here. Take it. And shoot swarm. Hey, look at that walker. Waker of Waves is gonna do its job. All right. Let's ram through. That leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. I think we just Epiphany. Get us another snaky boy. Oh, we can ram through too. Right, we're going to 100% kill that. And we'll get in there with this. Unfortunately, they are stuck on mana, which does suck. Right, let's play our land on green. Let's just get our Waker of Waves going. And then get in there with these. And we can hold up our counter spell as well as our scry. And we end the turn. And we make another Serpent. We can go tap, tap, tap. Well, no, we can't go tap, tap, tap. They'll have lots of blockers, but that's okay. We will get through eventually. So they do have a lot of cards in hand. Got. Yeah, I'm gonna counter that. And we got there. I'm sorry you got mana screwed. That's magic. We all have that happen. All right, let's do one more. Hopefully, maybe 2. We shall see. All right, let's do this. All right, Waves of Thought. Cosima, God of the Voyage. We have ramp. And more ramp. We'll keep it. See if we can get there. He's a good boy. Oh, he's a good boy. Oh yeah, he's a good boy. He's a very hot boy. Or a hot girl. Oh, Goose. Probably Glittering Wish. Let's see what we draw. Another land. Yeah, we'll Glittering Wish. It's kind of ramp, kind of not ramp. Getting Migration Path down and then a land, I think gets us further ahead than waiting a turn. Gilded Goose. Unless they decide to counter this, which is very possible. Nope. Blue, let's do blue, blue. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next turn, we can Cosima. We're not going to attack. We could assert our dominance, but they may have some instant speed thing. Anticipate is an instant speed thing. They're gonna have a hard time with what, turn 4 Koma. This is what we're trying to do. Budget ramp. And then we can start making food tokens with the goose later. They will bring Cosima back in, or will they take it out? They should take it out. They should exile it so that they can start drawing cards later. Password Surge will be nice in a couple turns. I want to give it a couple turns. I don't want to just go right in on only making 4 things. Although that would, if they leave us an opening, I'll probably do it. We'll see what happens. We can bounce it. They can do that. We're gonna have to fight our own Koma. Unless we can draw something here. Banner. Oh, power. You don't control. Well then. I guess we play this. This is one thing that Koma doesn't protect itself very well from. Blue. Multiverse. Let's draw those cards. Alternate win condition, I guess. Kinda, sorta. We'll keep that one. There's a land. Can play a land. You might as well get in there for 4. Sure. Opt away. This is the one vulnerability of Koma, like I said. Ecothiomorphosis. And we'll pretend like we have something. And then we'll kill the goose token. End of turn. Cosima keeps getting bigger. That's interesting. We are playing the slow them down game. I don't really think we need any more mana, so we're just gonna play this. A big 8/8 beanstalky boy. I think we are definitely surging next turn, as long as they don't put us to sleep again. It's an interesting idea. They are gonna put us to sleep again. Right. Let's give them this opportunity to counter this. I would much rather have Rapid Bite resolve. Oh, these are all good. I want it all. I think the Brontodon gives us a better chance to win the game. I do want to do this though. I want them to recast Cosima if they let this resolve. Or it gets a counter spell out of their hand so we can land a Basswood Surge next turn. They may let it die. The allure of card draw is mighty appealing. Into the royal what? Their own Cosima. Sure. I guess they get to cast it for 3 and hold up a counterspell. Mm-hmm. And then what? Sure. Get in there for 1. This hits much harder. And then I think I fight this. Now that the timing is open. If they want their commander in play, they are going to have to recast it. Tempo, tempo. I don't think we need Beanstalk Giant in play. Fairy.
Let's make this quick.
Draw discard.
I do love a good puzzle.
Will they have to choose? Island. Right. There are a few cards that could be. Let's make another food. Another land. One. 2. We're going there. Guess if I cast this, I could have had lethal. This forces. They gotta draw a card, right? Sure. The Teferi still dies unless they have a bounce spell.
I've learned my lesson.
Then we're gonna Beanstalk again. All right, this is looking okay. They got 2 cards in hand. That's probably Behold, or it's the bounce spell. Oh, it's Epiphany. That's another good one. Although in this case, it's kind of like make 2 1/1s, draw a card. Unless they can get the boat in play. Boaty McBoatface. Omen kill. I would have held on to that. Three mana, draw 1. Seems bad, man. They're actually kind of saving my Brontodon in some ways. Oh, okay. That's a good one. But they have to hold up 5 mana, including it. And they have 10. They have 5 mana left over for their Barons. Or they could play Cosima and still hold up that. Right, that's their plan. Can attack if they want. I don't think they should. Make another food. We don't really have any real payoffs for food. Eat a food. Right, we are surging. Or are they countering? They can't really counter, because if they counter, then this Brontodon is giant. But also this Beanstalk is giant too. 21-21. Can they hold us off for long enough? You have to, yeah. This bounces. Block, or block, let 2 through. Yeah. I could let 5 through. I'm empty-handed though. Why would you block like that? Yeah. Please block like that. Please kill Koma. Oh, thank you. Why in anything's name would you let that happen? Yeah, that's an oops. That's a big oops. Unless you got something else that stops its abilities. Sure. That doesn't do it for you. Unless you can bounce one of these. You have to bounce both. They are both bigger than your 8-8 and your 2-4. Alright, let's do this. I believe. Or do we fight? We battle first. What do you have? You have 1 card in hand. What is that 1 card? Does it save you or does it not? All right. Auto pay. Next. Didn't save you. Good game. You were 1 turn too late. Even if you didn't kill Koma, still game over. All right, that was a long one. That was a good one. All right, let's go over the deck and see what we can include if we were to upgrade with some of the rares and mythic wild cards. All right, let's do this. All right, 1 quick game, 1 super intense game. Koma Cosmos Serpent as a budget Brawl deck. Actually, I think is pretty solid. The majority of our ramp in our format is budget. There's a few things that we could do to make it a little more resilient, a little stronger, and lean less on Koma as its ultimate finisher. All right, let's go through a few of the rare and mythic upgrades that I think you could pull off for this deck to, make it a little stronger. First, Rabid Bite would come out for Brazen Borrower. You can bounce things and also have a creature on the other end of it. This does get rid of something, but this deals with more permanents and things that are harder to deal with. I would replace the Replicating Ring for the Midnight Clock. Being able to draw cards rather than get a bunch more mana is probably something that will be much more helpful. Keeper of Fables would be traded for Toski, Bearer of Secrets. They both do the same thing. Sure, this has a bigger body. It's a little more expensive, but having the Indestructible on Toski is quite nice. Ashaya, Battle Mammoth, Elder Gargaroth, Kogla the Titan Ape, and Kiora Best the Sea Gods are all things that you could put in the Waker of Waves category, or you could go a little bit bigger and take out some of the other spells and add any of these in. They are all extremely powerful and very viable in a deck such as this. I would replace the rare of Soul Blade Jin into a Return of the Wild Speaker. This is maybe a one-shot +3/+3, but the fact that it draws you cards if you cast it on that aspect and have Koma out, that's 6 cards minimum. With other things, it could be bigger. I would put a Sublime Epiphany in and taking out the Epic Proportions. Yeah, this is nice to get damage in, but you can get damage in with this as well, and it's just so much more versatile and does so many things. And then some cards that I don't really have replacement spaces for, but you could definitely add them in and you'll be very happy with them. Thieving Skydiver, being able to steal artifacts in Brawl, especially ramp artifacts, because we are trying to get to 7, is quite effective. Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy, another way to use our mana, and is another reason why you would want to upgrade to a bunch more beefy creatures and maybe get away from the card draw and other things. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, could go in for a ramp spell. It doesn't automatically ramp you, but it gives you great value. Drawing a card, gaining life sometimes can be the difference between winning a game and losing a game. And then the mana department, we didn't really go over the mana base when we went through the deck tech, but Castle Vantress, Castle Garenbrig, a small forest, and an island. And then you can take out one of our other lands to put a Faceless Haven into the deck. A nice creature land that can start getting in early game or block early game, block late game. Just very helpful. Right, Koma, Cosmos Serpent. I hope you enjoyed the games. I hope you enjoy the deck. I hope you build it yourself. I think it's a very fun commander. And yeah, all right. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. From Mr. Pisto to you. Bye for now.